Hi guys, and welcome back to my desk. It's been a while again. I apologize. Life has been a little busy getting ready for spring. Lots of garden activities happening, and currently in the process of refinishing another desk. So I haven't had a lot of time to film, but I have been reading, so that's good news. Let me light this candle and then we'll jump in. Looks like that might not be bright enough. Let me grab another one here off the shelf. There we go. So tonight I've got 2 books for you. We've got books 22 and 23, and then we're going to preview book 24. So, book 22 was The Hound of the Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Classic novel. I had seen a lot of movies and TV that were based on this story, so I was very familiar with it going in, and that's kind of a different mindset when you're reading a book. So if you've never heard of this book, or if you've never seen it in a TV or movie version, then it might read a bit differently for you. So keep that in mind with when I'm reviewing this book, because I'm going to kind of compare it a little bit. So I do think it was a good story. I think it's a really interesting story, and I definitely appreciated it. But I will say that I didn't like it as much as some of the other books that I've read so far this year, and I do think that this story makes for a better visual storytelling than a written one. if that makes sense to you. The story itself is a really interesting idea, and I don't know, it didn't read as well as it played. I guess I don't want to get stuck on that, but so what is this story about? Why didn't I tell you that? There's no with these particular versions of the classic series from Paper Mill Press, they don't put the synopses on the back. They just put a quote from the book. This one is, "There's nothing more stimulating than a case where everything goes against you." And that's a quote from Sherlock about this particular case he takes on. So this story features young Henry Baskerville. Gosh, I gotta make sure I got his name right. Yeah. So the story centers around Sir Henry Baskerville, who has inherited the Baskerville estate, and there is a old story, legend, curse that exists around the Baskervilles, and a hound that hunts them down. So the previous owner of the estate dies under somewhat mysterious circumstances, and the estate then goes to the only known living relative. Henry Baskerville returns from America to take over the estate, but strange things are afoot. The case is brought to the attention of Sherlock by the person who examined the body of the previous Mr. Baskerville, and he found large hound footprints off a ways from the body, and the previous Mr. Baskerville had died of a heart attack, and he believed the circumstances were suspicious, but no one else had seen the footprints, and he just didn't want any attention brought to him for him believing in the curse. So he went privately to Sherlock and Dr. Watson to have them investigate before Sir Henry arrived to make sure that he wasn't in danger. Now, Sir Henry arrives and he actually meets with Sherlock and Watson, and they explain the whole situation to him, and then Dr. Watson goes to the Baskerville estate with Sir Henry to keep a watch over him, to make sure nothing bad happens while they investigate the mysterious circumstances surrounding the death of the previous Mr. Baskerville. Now, there are elements of supernatural in this story, or the idea of supernatural, I should say, and I think it's just very mysterious. And it's a good story. So, if you're a fan of Sherlock Holmes and you haven't read this story, then I would recommend it. If you're a fan of old style mysteries, then you could also check this out. But I hate to say this because I really do like the idea of the story and the substance of the story, but I found it read in a really dull way. Not that it was hard to read or that it wasn't interesting, like plot-wise, but it just was really flat. I didn't find the characters dimensional, and that was really hard. I am someone who visualizes books as I read them. So for me, reading a book is like watching TV or a movie. It just automatically visualizes in my head. And for this book, and again, maybe because I have seen so many media interpretations of this particular story, it didn't pull from the pages to visualize very well. And I haven't read anything by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle before this, I don't think. And maybe it's just his writing style. Actually, that's a lie. I have, because I've read other Sherlock Holmes stories. I have a collection of them in one book, and so I've definitely read some of his a long time ago, but I don't remember how they read then. It could be the writing style. It could just be that I was too familiar with this particular story, so I don't know what to say. Other than that, I think it was just okay for me, and I hate saying that because the idea of the story is really interesting. I know that I've said that several times already, and now I'm kind of just repeating myself. So I'll probably just stop this one here. I knew this one was going to be hard for me to review when I finished it, because it's not bad. It's not a bad book. I think just for me in particular, it wasn't, it was just okay. That's what I would say. I could have gone without reading it. But, you know, it was an experience, so there's that. Okay, so that was book 22, I believe. And now I'm going to move on to book 23. So, book 23 is our first non-fiction book of the 100 books. Ow! Oh gosh. Just put wax on my hand. Move this one a little more slowly. Just want to increase the lighting a bit. So, book 23 was The Lost City of the Monkey God by Douglas Preston. And my feelings about this book are a lot less ambiguous than this one. I really liked this. If you don't like to read nonfiction, then you'll probably want to skip this one. But let me tell you what it's about before you make your decision. For 500 years, legends have told of an ancient lost city hidden in the Honduran rainforest, a place so sacred that those who dare disturb it would fall ill and die. In 2012, Douglas Preston joined a team of scientists on their quest to find the White City, climbing aboard a rickety plane whose historic flight would change everything. Using a space-age technology that could map terrain under the densest jungle canopy, that flight revealed tantalizing evidence of not just a city, but an entire lost civilization. But when the expedition finally reached the ruins, battling torrential rains and venomous snakes in the world's densest jungle, tragedy struck. Preston and others contracted a mysterious and incurable disease. The Lost City of the Monkey God is the true eyewitness account of one of the greatest discoveries of the 21st century, a story of ancient curses, modern technology, a vanished culture, and a stunning medical mystery. So, as nonfiction goes, it kind of sounds a lot like fiction. I really liked this book. I thought it was great storytelling and interesting. And I guess it's kind of a subject matter that's easier to make interesting. But a lot of books about true events can really fall flat because sometimes real life just isn't that interesting. But the story of this was really interesting. And I think that Douglas Preston tells it really well. He was there, he saw everything firsthand, and you get it from his point of view, so there's a little bit of obvious bias there. But it's just really great. And I'm really interested in archaeology and anthropology and history, so this book really hit a lot of things that I enjoy learning about in general. So if you're interested in those subjects, again, this is a really great book to read. There was a lot of really fascinating things in here to learn about. The nature of the Honduran rainforest, the animals that live there, the technology that they used. You get some history of bananas, which might sound really out of place and obscure, but it was just a really interesting story. Really interesting topic, and you learn a lot as you read it, and it's engaging, and enough stuff happens that you're not bored. So when you're reading nonfiction, sometimes it gets draggy, again, because things take time to occur in life, but this book spans a very wide time frame and several different locations, several different expeditions of an archaeological nature, and keeps circling back to this legend of the White City in the Honduran rainforest, which goes also by the name of the Lost City of the Monkey God, for the legend told by the locals. So it was just really good. I picked this up secondhand, and the cover is an aerial shot of the rainforest. I'm not sure how well you can see. And a bonus of this book was it includes photos from the actual visits. There's multiple, plural. I was trying to think of how to say it there. From when they were in Honduras. So was also really nice to be able to help you kind of visualize the conditions and the descriptions of people and the location from the writing. So Douglas Preston is a journalist. He's not an archaeologist, he's not a scientist. So I think that helps tell the story. He's obviously a writer. He knows how to weave things together so that it reads really well. There's still wax on my fingers. So yeah, I highly recommend this book, guys, if you're interested in archaeology, anthropology, legends, the rainforest, technology, because the way that they were able to discover the ruins in the rainforest and map them is really a breakthrough for archaeology, and it wasn't technology originally designed for that. It's military technology, and learning about that and how they were able to use it, and the people that were involved in the process. These people are characters straight out of a movie, straight out of TV, or Indiana Jones, you know. They're just have lived some lives, you know. So yeah, all that combines to tell a really fascinating true story. So yeah, you've got legends, curses, venomous animals lurking in the jungle. You've got plague of mosquitoes. You've got the elements of the instability of Honduras as a country and the government, and the drug presence in that country, and how that affects everything. You learn, again, a weird section about the history of the banana industry, which was actually really fascinating to learn about. And just the reality of how sometimes things have to happen in countries where it's just not a great situation to be doing this kind of work. And unfortunately, a lot of countries that are the focus of a lot of archaeological and anthropological investigation are not the most stable or safe locations for scientists to be in. And so this is an example of how they get things done, I guess. The compromises that you have to make, and the kind of lines you have to walk, and how your safety isn't guaranteed. There's also the lurking threat of illness, a lot of tropical diseases they have to try and sidestep, and as the back mentions, they do all fall ill, and that's another really interesting story that happens at the tail end of the book. After a lot of the kind of archaeological mystery has been investigated, it's just a roller coaster, guys. It's so good. It's such a good story. So if you're interested in medical stuff and disease, it's got that too. Yeah, so book 23 was a real hit. It's one of my favorites that I've read so far this year, and I would highly recommend it. So now I'm gonna preview book 24. Okay, just the candles a little bit. Book 24. We're back to fiction. Is Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. So that's going to be book 24. I have started it. Not super far in, but it's reading pretty well so far. I haven't had a lot of time so far to invest in this book, and all my other projects have kind of taken over a bit since I started reading this one. But I'm going to try and get through it, hopefully in not too long of amount of time, so I can keep chugging away, because the year is going by just a lot faster than I would like it to. I'm not getting through as many books as I would have hoped by now, but try not to focus on the numbers so much. I'm hoping to get to 100, but I'm trying to also just enjoy the experience of reading the books and not just speed through them for the sake of getting to 100. So we're just gonna see how things go, I guess. And that's it. That's gonna be book 24. Yep. That's all for this one, guys. Thanks for joining me, and good night.